the bed today. Oh my God, my hair looks crazy. Just got done working out, and this is actually the second attempt at this episode. I recorded this morning in between clients, and I think I just felt a little too rushed. And I know I still sound nasally, but I was like super nasally this morning, so I don't think I would want to listen to that as a podcast listener. So I'm going to re-record this, and I've got better energy right now anyways. Endorphins. Get your body moving today if you haven't yet. Even 2 minutes can help. Don't fall. Okay, so now that we know what we're doing, do a little testy test. Testing, check, 1, 2, 3. Boring, blah, blah, blah. Should come up with like a phrase for testing. Something fun. Testing, check, 1, 2, 3. Please don't go, I love you so. I love you so, I love you so, I love you so. All right, let's see here. Okay, just jotting down a few bullet points so I don't forget, but let's get started. Welcome back, everybody. Welcome to a new episode of Create Your Own Truth. Today, we're going to be talking all about clarity because we all have goals, but how do we know what to do or what we actually want if we don't even know what we want? Like, I know that sounds confusing, but a lot of people have goals, but they're not clear on what those goals actually are. So how do we take action forward towards the life that we want to have if we don't even know what that is? It's really hard to do. So taking the time to reflect is super important, figuring out what you actually want to accomplish. And by doing this, you might realize that what you thought were goals of yours are actually not important to you. And maybe you felt like you should do them, or it's something that society ingrained into you because it's an expectation of society, or maybe you see other people doing this said goal and you thought, well, if they're doing it, I should be doing it, when in reality, you don't have to do anything you don't want to do. So getting clear on what you actually want to achieve for your own particular life is going to bring so much more awareness and clarity from what you actually want and how to proceed from there. So you may discover that things you have been pressuring yourself to do have no place in your life. Like, they are not needed, it's not making your life better, or it's not necessary. Then remove that pressure and you have more energy and time to focus on something that is actually truly important to you. And even if you weren't putting any action into those goals because you just found out they weren't important to you, so you weren't motivated to do them, so you never took action, they were still taking up space in your brain, which is still putting energy towards them. So let's free up that space and energy for things that are truly important to us. And let's gain clarity on what those things are so that we know what to do, how to create an action plan so we can actually achieve those things. So that's kind of the premise of today's episode. But I want to start with a few questions, and I'll probably repeat these at the end as well, but feel free to pause this and write down each of these questions. They're going to give you some guidelines on how to gain more clarity out of what you want. So question number 1 is going to be reflecting on who you actually want to be. We all have this vision of who we want to be, but get clear on that. Who is that person? Don't limit your vision. This is completely limitless. If there's any sort of limit, it's something that you are putting on it. There are no limits. The sky is the limit. So who do you want to be? Who is that person you envision to be, that you desire to be? And so under that, you can think like, well, what traits do I want to have? How do I want to feel on a daily basis? So start with that question, who do you actually want to be in your everyday life? And then question number 2, what do you want to prioritize? what do you want to make more time for? Or actually make time for if you're not putting any time in currently right now towards a priority. What do you want to carve out time for? And in the inverse of that might be, what do you need to take time away from? Are you wasting time or energy on things that just don't matter in the long run in your life? They're not adding value to your life at all. So think of it in that regard as well. What do you want to create more time for? And what do you need to take some time and energy away from that you're currently prioritizing? Because let's say, like, TV is a great example. When you think of your top priorities in life, TV is not up there. Like, let's be real. If someone was like, what are your top 3 priorities? TV would not be at the top of the list. But if you're carving out 5 hours a day for TV and you kind of feel like you're in that rut of always watching TV after work right until you fall asleep, that's a priority. You're making that a priority because you create so much time for that one activity. So ask yourself, what do you want to prioritize more and what do you want to prioritize less? Question 3, what habits do you want to change? Because remember, life is made up of habits. Your daily life is made up from habits from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to bed. So what habits throughout the day do you need to change? And you don't need to change them all at once. You don't need to list 100 habits, but what ones pop into your head that are the most important to you, that kind of stick out, that you really want to work on? Most of us know, like, something comes to mind right away, maybe 1 to 3 habits that we really want to change. Start with those. So who do you actually want to be? Question number 1. Question 2, what do you want to prioritize? And question 3, what habits do you want to change? From there, you can figure out what you actually want to accomplish. So let's say you do have all these goals floating around in your head, but you have no clarity on them or what they actually are. Answer those 3 questions, dig deep, reflect, write down your answers. Writing down things is super helpful to actually gain clarity and just let thoughts flow, and then you can come up with some concise statements of what you actually want. And from there, you can figure out, like, what you actually want to accomplish and why. So you can come up with a few goals that are super important to you based on your responses to the 3 questions. Come up with those goals, be specific, and then ask yourself why. Because going back to what I mentioned at the beginning of the episode, is it something you truly want, or is it something you feel is expected of you from society or other people, or you're just following what other people are doing and maybe you don't want it at all? So make sure you know why you are doing something so that you can see if it's even worth the time and the energy and the effort. And knowing your why is going to bring you even more clarity. And if you need some guidance on this, go back to, I don't remember which episode number, but I recorded a whole podcast episode on knowing your why, and it's very crucial to know. So if you need a little more guidance on that, just go back to, this is episode 19, so it's not going to be too hard to find knowing your why, that whole episode. Listen to that. That is very important to know why you are doing anything in your life that you're doing. So reflect on those questions. They're going to bring you so much clarity, because when we don't have clarity on what we want out of our life, it's like having an overwhelming to-do list in our head where everything's just jumbling around all of the time. But if we take a moment to brain dump everything onto a piece of paper and just let everything flow that we have in our head that we need to get done or prioritize, you start to see, like, okay, if there's 20 things on the paper, things pop out like, okay, these top 3 are things I really need to get done. And then you get them done, and then all of a sudden it's 3 things less floating around in your head. So having that written down, having that clarity can bring you so much peace of mind and take stress away, so that you're not just constantly wondering what you're doing, what you want, why you're doing something. Lay it all out so you have clarity and you have guidance. So that's even something you can do, is literally brain dump onto a piece of paper any goals that you tell yourself you have that maybe you've had in your head for years, but you've done nothing about it. And again, going back to whether you actually want to achieve that or not. So knowing your why. But if it is something you want to achieve, write it down. So write out as many things as you want that are always in your head, whether it's habits you want to change, goals you have, things you want to make a priority, things you want to do. Write it all down and get some clarity on what is truly important to you. And then maybe from there, you do notice a few things like, okay, these are definitely things I want to prioritize. The rest can kind of go by the wayside for now. And maybe you will cross some things off that just don't matter to you at all. And now you've taken the pressure off completely. You can literally forget about those things that you want to cross off, whether it's something that you didn't realize you didn't want for your own life, or it's just not a priority at all. Cross them off. If they come back later on, ask yourself if you truly want to achieve them, and then from there you can make a plan of action. But if you brain dump everything onto a piece of paper and highlight or circle what are maybe like the 3 top important things for you right now at this point in your journey, you're going to get way more clarity on what to do, because you can't do it all. Let's be real. If you have 20 things that you're writing down, you can't make 20 changes at once. That is overwhelming. It's exhausting. We will experience a burnout. We will be trying to do everything all at once, and it just doesn't work that way. So knowing what maybe your top 3 priorities are for changes you want to make or goals you want to have is going to help reduce your stress so much. And then you don't have these things floating around in your head all the time like, oh, I said I want to prioritize that, or, I don't even know what I'm going to be doing with this goal, but it's always in my head. No, it takes the pressure away. So do that. That's a great idea. And I just want to specify that you don't need to know everything. I am constantly looking for clarity in my journey, my own personal life, my business. Hello, if you listen to the last episode, I did another rebrand, which means I got even more clarity on where I want to go with my business and my purpose. I will rebrand again or clarify my purpose even more, but it's okay to be like ever evolving. It's okay if things change. It's okay if you go through those reflective questions from the beginning and your answers change a month from now, 6 months from now, a year from now. That is growth. That is evolution. That is okay. Just focus on what you want at this point in your life right now, this point in your journey, and you can't go wrong. As long as you know why you're doing something, or even if you don't even know your deep why yet, you will figure it out along the way. As long as you know that something is actually important to you and the person that you want to be and the life that you want to have, and it's important to you right now at this point. You'll figure out why. You may figure out your clarity down the road, but you don't have to know it all. You will constantly evolve and change and grow, and that is okay. What we want to avoid is that constant jumbling of things floating around in our head, where we might say things like, I just want to get my shit together, or I just need to get on track, or I have so many things I need to change. Like, those are all so vague. You do need clarity on all of those like vague statements. Like, what do you actually want to change? How do you need to get your shit together? Why do you need to get your shit together? Or my favorite, like, I need to get back on track, or I just need to get my life on track. Well, what does that mean? Like, what area of your life are you talking about? What do you need to get on track? So that's where we do need some clarity. Otherwise, you're never going to do anything about those goals, or you're never going to do anything to prioritize getting your shit together. Like, that's so vague. We have no direction of where to go. So you do need to get clear on some of those things. That's why those reflective questions are so great. So they start pinpointing like what you actually want to change about your life, yourself, your habits, your future. That's where those really come in handy. But don't be hard on yourself if you can't figure it all out overnight. It doesn't work that way, and we are constantly growing and evolving. So just do the best that you can. Give it the best that you can on any given day, and that's all that you can ask of yourself. So you don't have to have it all figured out. Nobody does. So once you have clarity on what you actually want to prioritize or what goals you want to achieve, and you know your why for them, then you can start to create an action plan. And again, you don't have to know the whole plan to get there, but you should have some general sense of how to at least get started. And I want to encourage you to just start. Even if you don't even know what step 2 is, start with step 1. What can you do? One baby step, small realistic step forward towards that goal to get the momentum going. You do not have to have the whole thing figured out. You don't need to know step 2, but you need to just get moving imperfectly. Otherwise, we will never start. And again, that's why clarity is important, knowing what we're working towards, so at least we can take that first step forward. And it will keep building. That momentum will keep going as you continue to move forward. It doesn't matter if you don't have everything figured out. You will figure it out along the way. And if you are someone who wants to map it out, if you feel like you can stay more accountable that way and kind of have a guideline of what to do, then work your way backwards from the goal. So if you have an end goal, like let's say you want to lose 10 pounds in 3 months, work your way back and think, okay, well, how can I lose 3.5 pounds every month? What can I do every week to hit that 3.5 pound goal? What can I do every day to hit that 3.5 pound goal by the end of the month? So you kind of work your way back. So at the end of the 3 months, you're hitting your 10-pound goal. And it's okay if you don't hit it right on time. We can't always control those things. And sometimes it's putting a little too much pressure on ourselves. But if you are someone who needs to have the whole thing mapped out for accountability reasons, just make sure the steps are realistic. But you do need to just start taking action after you know what your goal is, you know why you're doing it. Third step is just start. Take action, take those baby steps. Even if you don't have the entire plan figured out, just start moving forward. So I'm going to give you a little homework assignment. I want you to get clear on the top 3 things that are most important to you right now, whether it's a habit, a specific goal, a priority. I want you to get clear on what those 3 things are. So if it is helpful for you to go back and brain dump everything onto a piece of paper that you have in your mind that you want to change, start with that. Highlight what you think is the most important, but I still want you to go through those reflective questions to bring more clarity out of what you want in your life. So let's go through them one more time. Again, feel free to pause them and write them down. Question 1, who do you actually want to be? Under that, you can maybe answer what traits do you want to have and how do you want to feel on a daily basis? So who do you actually want to be as a person? Question 2, what do you want to prioritize? And under that, you can ask yourself, what do you want to make more time for? And what do you want to make less time for that you are currently carving out a lot of time for and you don't want to anymore? And question 3, what habits do you want to change? So brain dump everything, answer those 3 questions. And then from there, pick out your 3 priorities right now at this point in your journey, at this point in your life. Once you know those top 3, create a specific goal around each. So if you discover your top priority after brain dumping and answering the reflective questions is working out, that's awesome. Why do you want to work out? Get real with yourself. Get honest. Don't make it a surface level answer. Again, the Knowing Your Why podcast episode is going to help you a lot with getting clarity on diving deeper into why. So it's not just, I want to look good in my jeans. No, it's so much deeper than that. So getting clear on why you want to work out, and then get specific. What does working out mean to you? How many times a week? How long per session? What are you going to do for a workout? Do you need to be in a group environment? Do you need to do it alone? What time of day is going to work best for your energy and your schedule? So get clear on the specifics of the goal. Otherwise, again, it's going to be very hard to just say, oh, my priority is working out. Well, what does that mean? So get clear on the specifics of the goal and then have some sort of timeline. It can be a little lax because, again, I don't want you to feel like you fail if you don't hit it, like that 10-pound example in 3 months. If you hit 8 pounds in 3 months, you've still lost 8 pounds. You can just continue the habits that you did to lose those 8 pounds, to lose the other 2. So it's not failing if you don't hit a timeline, but it does keep you accountable, because let's say you just said, I want to lose 10 pounds. Well, maybe you have a vacation planned 8 months from now. And so it's important to you to lose the 10 pounds by the vacation, but you keep stalling and stalling because you know you have an extra 5 months, instead of starting today and telling yourself, you know what, I'm going to give myself 3 months. That way, before my vacation, I am staying consistent with those habits for an entire 8 months, instead of trying to fit it in at the last minute so I lose the 10 pounds before vacation and all of a sudden I feel stressed and pressured and it's just too much. I wish I had started earlier. So give yourself a little bit of a timeline to stay accountable, but just remember, as long as you're showing up for yourself daily, you're not failing. So if you don't hit it right on the money, that is okay. You're still strengthening the habits that you want to create for yourself and your life and who you want to be. But try to come up with something realistic. So don't say I want to lose 25 pounds in a month, and don't say I want to lose 3 pounds in 1 year. So come up with something realistic for your goal, and then from there, create the action steps. So if you are someone who wants a full-on plan to stay accountable and just have everything mapped out, maybe you're like type A and you love planning and organizing, map out the realistic action steps that will get you there by the end of the 3 months, let's say. Work your way back so you know what to literally start with today. Or if you're someone who's like, that is stressing me out, I just want to get started with change, make sure it's realistic, but just start taking action forward. Don't try to change everything at once. Take one step forward today that you know is working towards that goal, and you can continue figuring out the rest, or come up with a habit that will work towards that goal. So if it is losing 10 pounds in 3 months and you don't know exactly how you're going to fully get to that goal, but you know you want to start with walking half a mile every day, start with that. You don't need to know the rest. You will figure it out as you go, but start with one habit that is going to help you get to that goal, if that makes sense. So you don't need to have it figured all out. Just get clarity on what action steps you can start taking and just get started. I promise sometimes that's the hardest part, is just getting started, getting that momentum going. It has nothing to do with motivation. You have to just start with those small changes and the rest will come. Keep strengthening those habits. Again, everything in life is a habit. So if you think about it in that regard, everything you're doing is a habit, which means you know you are capable of creating habits. You know you are capable of creating change. So you can do it. It's just now you have a plan of what you want to achieve. You're getting clear on what you want out of your life and what goals you want to hit. So I know this is going to be helpful for you. Jot down those questions, write them out, take some time, light some candles, make it ambiance, and just get into it, get real with yourself, get deep. And I know you're going to find so much clarity out of what you actually want. It can be in any area of your life. So don't limit yourself. Know that anything is possible and you can make anything happen in your life that you can imagine. So let's start getting some clarity. Go through the reflective questions, brain dump everything onto a piece of paper, cross out what you don't even want to worry about anymore, highlight what you want to truly prioritize. And then let's say you have your top 3 priorities or goals. You know why you want to hit them. You've done the reflective work and you are like, these are my top 3. But let's say you're getting stuck on the action plan start, and maybe you even took an action step forward because you're like, all right, I know what I at least have to do today, but I'm kind of feeling stuck with the rest. Or you want to make a full plan to hit that end goal, but you just don't know how to do that. You're not sure how to work backwards to create all the steps. reach out to me. I would be happy to give you some tips and go over what you can do to keep working and progressing towards those goals. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. I am happy to help. You can DM me on Instagram at catspiration_, or if it's something a little bit longer and you have some more questions, feel free to email me. You can email me at contact@catspiration.com. I will respond within 24 to 48 hours and give you some guidelines and some tips on how to proceed forward towards those goals. But at least start with that reflective work. I think you are going to be surprised at what clarity you gain. Sometimes when I've done some digging deep and just sitting with myself and my feelings and what I truly want, very unexpected things come up, and it can be a little shocking. But I always feel so much better because I now have more clarity than I did, and now I know how to proceed forward. And sometimes it takes things off my plate. Sometimes it gives me clarity on what to prioritize more, what to prioritize less. So I think you are going to find this immensely helpful. So I am going to keep working on this as well, because there is so much more I want out of my life. And I know when I have gained clarity in the past, it has been super helpful for me to know what steps to take forward. So let's do this together and let's create our own truth. Thumbnail. I'm stuffy. Here I go.